Welcome. Today we are going to show you how to work with debit card transactions in Eclipse. This video will cover how to download the transactions from your debit card provider and then upload them into Eclipse. Once they are in Eclipse, you can then generate, amend and post the transactions using petty cash forms. And then lastly, there is an option to reconcile the debit card control account. This Eclipse feature is available for the majority of credit card providers. Email support if you would like to check if your provider is compatible. Now, let's get started. First, log into your debit card account online. In this example, we will demonstrate downloading the transactions from the Equals website. Navigate to the Transactions section and download the transactions you require utilizing the filter options if necessary. The file will download as a CSV file into your computer's Downloads folder. You now have the debit card export on your computer, and we will come back to that later. Before we upload the file, let's make sure your Eclipse system is set up correctly to account for debit cards. Open Eclipse and navigate to the Control Table menu and select Control Accounts. You will need to have a control account specifically for debit cards. If you have one already set up, it will be visible in this window. If not, we are going to show you how to set it up now. First, click the Insert button. Then give the new control account a unique code. We are going to use P2 as it signifies that it is the second petty cash type account. Select the currency the debit cards are in, and then give the new account a name in the description field. Next, in the same window, click on the Control Accounts tab. Tick that this is a petty cash source code, and then map it to the petty cash custodian account. You will need to have a separate petty cash custodian account, separate from your normal petty cash tin account. This is, of course, if you are using a physical cash tin. You can locate or set up the custodian account by clicking the ellipsis menu. However, for clarity, I'm going to show you how to create it directly in the Chart of Accounts window. Select General Ledger, then Chart of Accounts. Scroll to find your balance sheet accounts and locate your other petty cash custodian accounts. Click Insert to add the new account and assign it an appropriate name and description. Usually, you will want to keep the coding sequential and give it a description that matches your custodian account. For more information about this section, please refer to the Chart of Accounts instructional video. Now you can go back to your Control Account Details window and map the new PC custodian account to your new control account. We are ready to open the debit card transactions export. You must first prepare Eclipse for the import by ensuring each debit card user is set up appropriately in your vendor master maintenance. Each debit card user must be set up in your vendor master maintenance as a petty cash vendor and be linked to their petty cash debit card float account. The petty cash float account must be different than their normal petty cash float account if your production is also using physical cash reimbursements. Next, under the Bank Details tab, the user's PAN number must be inserted in the STD reference field. Lastly, click the Contact Details tab and enter the user's email address. Once all the user's details have been entered, you are ready to import the spreadsheet into Eclipse. Highlight and copy only the data rows and columns, like so. Now in Eclipse, navigate to Petty Cash Entry, and click Insert. Right-click and select Paste Debit Card Transactions. A pop-up window will appear prompting you to select the petty cash control account. Make sure to use the new debit card's control account that we previously talked about. If you plan on reconciling the debit card control account, which is recommended, tick the Add Transactions to Reconciliation checkbox. Note that if you are pasting the same worksheet in more than once, you should not tick the Add Transactions to Reconciliation checkbox, as this will prompt about duplicate entries in your reconciliation window. The debit card transactions now appear as separate petty cash envelopes by vendor. If there are more than 20 transaction lines per vendor, the transactions will be split into multiple envelopes. If you are pasting in transactions every day for costing purposes, the new pastes will populate the existing envelopes until they go over 20 lines. Then, like mentioned before, they will split into new envelopes. The PC envelopes will need to be assigned envelope numbers. It is best at this point to go in and enter the PC envelope number like so. The envelope transaction lines, cost codes, and descriptions will be blank and will need to be completed like a normal petty cash form. At this stage, you can email the crew member the generated petty cash form to complete the remaining necessary details. To do so, highlight the appropriate envelopes, right-click and select Email PC Forms. You can also select Create PC Form to open the form directly on your computer. The forms will automatically be emailed to the crew member's email address that you previously entered under their vendor master maintenance record. If you get an error message, TPH may need to enable this feature in your database. In this case, email support. Once the forms have been emailed, the PC envelope will move to a new petty cash batch called Emailed PC Forms. This is to help you keep track of which forms have been emailed. The crew member will receive the petty cash form via email. From there, they can amend as normal and then send it back to accounts once completed. Once a PC form has been completed and received by accounts, you can go ahead and paste the form back into Eclipse. Copy the entire form and paste back into the correct batch using the Paste New PC Form option. The new form paste will then overwrite the original entry. When you are ready, select and post the completed petty cash forms as normal, through the Unposted Petty Cash List window, running any necessary reports beforehand. For more information on this, you can refer to the Petty Cash training video. Now it is time to reconcile your debit card control account. This task can only be performed after the envelopes have been posted. Navigate to the reconciliation window through Petty Cash Debit Card Reconciliation. First, make sure that you have the control account for debit cards selected. In this window, the Debit Card Transactions tab lists all the debit card transactions that have been uploaded to Eclipse. The Posted Items tab lists all the transactions posted in the specified Petty Cash control account. If you need to further analyze the data in these windows, you can select All, right-click, and Send to Excel. From Excel, you can sort and filter as you wish. Before you begin the reconciliation, check the amount total in the Debit Card Transactions tab matches the total transactions total on your debit card online account. If the totals match, click the Reconcile button and the system will tick off all the transactions in the Debit Card Transactions tab that match up with the transactions posted, which are listed in the Posted Items tab. Lastly, you can tick the Hide Reconciled Items checkbox. All of the ticked items will now be hidden. The Posted Items tab should now be empty, as all the transactions that have been posted have been cross-referenced with the debit card transactions uploaded. The transactions that remain in the Debit Card Transactions tab are items that have not yet been posted in the Petty Cash entry window. If the PC form was altered from the original upload, say, for instance, the crew member split a transaction line, the auto-reconciliation feature will not work on that transaction as the amounts have changed. In this case, you can simply tick the appropriate checkboxes to reconcile the transaction. That's it for this video. If you have any questions or feedback, please email support.